Okay, it's 7 o'clock and I'll call the June 11th meeting of the Port Edwards Village Board to order. And I'd ask the clerk to call the roll.
Okay, Trustee Duncan. Trustee Grundon. Here. Trustee Mansell. Here. Trustee Martinson. Trustee Mitchell.
Here.
And Trustee Saylor.
Here. And Trustee Duncan and Martinson have an excused absence. Luann had her procedure done today and she is feeling better, so she wanted me to pass that along to you all. Chair Leonard, oh, no we won't. Please rise for Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. A motion to approve the minutes from the May board meeting.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Trustee Mitchell, second by Trustee Grundon. Is there any discussion? Hearing no request to speak, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Motion to approve the May 15th Committee of the Whole meeting.
So moved.
Motion by Trustee Mitchell.
Second.
Second by Trustee Grundon. Discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And the final one will be a motion to approve the minutes of the May 20th, 2019 special board meeting.
So moved.
Motion by Trustee Mitchell.
Second.
Second by Trustee Mansell. Discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? That motion carries. I don't think we have any public comments on the agenda tonight, so we'll go into the President's report, and I want to pass out something that I had from a county board meeting almost a month ago. And what it is, it's from the Land and Water Conservation Department. I'm sure you all have heard the town of Armenian, the town of Port Edwards water is pretty well, a lot of contaminated wells. Sometimes, I think the average is 10 parts per million for nitrates, and there are a lot of wells are dealing 42% of them with like 30 and 40 parts per million. So this is just a little something, and it's very interesting. And the bottom part of it is the county efforts, what we've done so far, not we, but the Land and Management Department. And they're worth their weight in gold on this issue. Also, Megan Shields sent me a nice little thing. She still participates in the Kids from Wisconsin, and I was going to read it, but I will just pass it around if you guys would like to read it. Okay, committee reports, Airport Commission. I have nothing. The minutes are there for you to review. Anybody have any questions on those? No. And then July, Jeremy is scheduled to make his quarterly report to us next month. Police and Fire Commission, Chairman Stewart, please.
We last met on June 3rd at 6:30. Those minutes have been distributed by Kim. Regarding our police chief hiring search status, as you know, resume application review has been completed. We had received 8 applicants there. The commission interviews and are finishing up. At this point, we have narrowed the field down to 3 finalists. The executive law enforcement panel interviews will be completed by the end of this week. After that phase, there is a public meet and greet function that will occur on 6/24 from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Here at the shelter building. As I explained before briefly, this is an opportunity for the public to meet and speak with the finalists and have an opportunity to provide police and fire commissioners with feedback cards, which we will have available for them. We've marketed this event through several venues, and I think we might have a pretty good showing, which is great. An initial background investigation has been completed on all the applicants. An extensive, thorough background investigation will be conducted towards the end of the process on the top candidates. Steps have been taken to put in place to send the top candidate, whoever that may be, to a medical and psychological exam. I spoke with the folks that run those for us, and we'll be scheduling something, we're thinking in early July for the medical and psych. Now, that will occur subsequent to a meeting with the FHR committee with a candidate regarding discussion concerning salaries and benefits and so forth. In other items, the commission has moved forward with the recruitment and the application process for full-time police officers. That ad has been posted on the village website, as well as Wisconsin Municipality, League of Municipalities, and WileyNet. Currently, that deadline is stated for June 24th. We moved this process up in anticipation of some openings and trying to transition without too much staff shortages. So the application deadline, end of June. Written and physical test, we're thinking about performing on the same day. Possibly the venue where we're going to hold that, there's some construction going on, and we may have to use the second or third week of July for that task, written and physical agility. We're hoping to establish a hiring eligibility list by the end of July or early August, is what our hopes are. Are there any questions on any of those items? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. When I was still active duty, we, after 6 months, the psych test is pretty much, kaput. We'd do it again if we had to for another candidate, If somebody applies within that 6-month period, or you would consider that as have that candidate release it so you could see it, would that qualify? Or would you still rather to go and do it yourself?
You mean if one of our candidates has taken a
psych test like
last 6
2
months?
months ago or something?
Yeah, I don't see any, they're very, very expensive. And I don't see that there would be that much that would change in that short period of time. I don't know that that's the case on any of the 3 finalists, but certainly something to consider if that comes up.
Okay, thank you.
Our next meetings, we've got a special meeting this Thursday at 2 o'clock in the shelter here, and that's to finish up our interviews. We have a regular meeting Monday, 7/1, 6:30 p.m. at the municipal building.
It's a great day to meet, July 1st. I think I already told you that when you
Yeah.
talked to me.
Of course, we're cognizant that our meet and greet will have all of our commissioners present, and we are cognizant of our duties with regard to no business being conducted. Our role will be introducing candidates to any citizen and letting them take over from there. We won't be conducting any business. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Okay, Chairman Mitchell, Streets and Infrastructure.
Sure. Our last meeting was May 21st, and some of the activity, or some of the discussion and activities that took place. We had a discussion of possible action concerning Scott Construction and the chip seal project that they did last summer. And Chase from that business from Scott Construction, has agreed to fix the affected areas that were not done satisfactorily last year. So we're grateful for that, and it is without any cost to the village. So we're glad that he was willing to do that. We had another discussion about ATVs, and no action taken on that yet. We did an update on the culvert under Verbunker, which is in dire need of being taken care of, and that's going to be budgeted into next year's 2020 budget and be a top priority for sure. We are asking MSA, the engineering firm, for an estimate on that job. We had another update on the Port Road drainage problem. RR is to jet the north end of that drain. It's supposed to be in 3 or 4 weeks, so we're probably getting close to having that finished in the next couple of weeks. They're coming to Nakusa at the same time. Talked about long and short-term solutions to that problem, which is ongoing, as most of you know. Had an update on the YMCA swimming lessons funding. There is $2,500 available for village residents to sign up for swimming lessons with the Y. We also talked about the comprehensive water study. We need to look at an alternate water source, a new well, whether we're going to connect to neighboring communities. We have $20,000 in the water utility budget to do this study, to look at that. So that will be happening this fall yet. There was a splash pad update. Everything is really on track, and if you've noticed, they've got the forms out now for the shape of the splash pad, so it is moving forward.
Thank you, Madam Chair. They figure they're gonna have the pad itself poured this week yet, depending on the weather.
good.
And then
Okay.
next week, they're gonna start from right out here and do the sidewalk out to the splash pad.
Oh,
So things are
wonderful.
really shaping up.
Okay, it is. And we made decisions about the trees, the big trees that are gonna stay in place. Didn't see a reason to cut them down, so. We also looked at another task order from MSA for the 6th Street development engineering. And we have allotted up to $3,500 to pay MSA to review the engineering plans for that piece of 6th Street. Under the Department of Public Works, looking at what was really important there. Maybe one of the things that citizens need to know, that if your garbage is left on the outside of the garbage containers and doesn't fit in or whatever, you may begin to receive citations for that. So we're hoping we can get everybody to comply. Future agenda items we're going to be looking at when they come through in 2023, which is a long time off yet. Some of the issues with Highway 54 when it is redone coming through. So those are the highlights from our meeting. I moved to allot up to $3,500 to pay MSA to review engineering plans for the 6th Street development.
Do I have a second? Motion by Chairman Mitchell, second by Trustee Mansell, to allot up to $3,500 to pay MSA to review engineering plans for the 6th Street development. Do we have discussion? Hearing no request to speak, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Anything else?
Nope. If anybody has any questions, open for those.
Eric, could you take Pitt tonight, please?
We have a meeting on May 28th, our regular meeting at 5 o'clock. We just had some updates on the medical arts remodel. We discussed some names possibly for that building. Talked about implementing a village Facebook page and having somebody take care of that to get more important information out to the residents on a certain basis. Talked about an ordinance for the accessory buildings, and that's about it. We were gonna have a special pit meeting, because we had some change orders come up on the medical arts remodel, and then that's at a different meeting, so that's about it. The meeting was adjourned at 6:15.
Yeah.
So where does it stand with the Facebook? When you guys talked about it, what's the,
We talked about having administrative assistant take care of it.
so does that take an action with the motion, or is that moving forward, or?
On the agenda, we didn't have it for, it was just discussion. So I mean,
So we don't necessarily need a motion, so is it moving forward, or?
It's a good question. I'll ask Nick when he gets here. Personally, I don't think we do because we have all the apparatus to run it. I did talk to the administrative assistant on the side when I was in there the other day, and she has concerns about the time, because she's also a clerk, and assists Diane, so I think maybe we should somehow have Pitt reach out to her at our next meeting, if that's okay, and see if we can get it up and running.
it's basically just a discussion, like if Dell wanted somebody to go right to leaves at the park, just tell them to do that. So, yeah, I mean, we can discuss it more at the next meeting.
Anything else?
Yeah, I would think if there's enough time, I mean, I can't imagine that it involves a ton of time, either to set it up or to monitor it.
You do have to monitor it pretty closely because someone could put inappropriate comments on it that would need to be taken off.
Shut the comments off, is what I would suggest, that it doesn't turn into a unproductive banter, you can just shut them off.
Yeah, we're only village.
Guide now and mark it up.
Is that discussion?
I just slipped up, sorry. Anything else?
No, actually, we had a special pit meeting also. You just want me to do that right away?
Do what?
We had a special pit meeting too.
Like Ellie, we did? Yes, please.
We had a special pit meeting on June 6th to address those change orders, but there was no information, Lorelei had not received any information from Jim Lucas. So we couldn't move on any of that, so that was tabled, and then we were looking for more information on the accessory garages from Lorelei, and she hadn't had any time to do that, so that was it. Meeting took 10
And I haven't
minutes.
heard anything this weekend on it either.
Okay. So that was the special meeting also. That's it.
Okey dokey, public safety, Chairman Grundon.
Public Safety Committee met June 4th. Some of the items that were addressed there on our agenda was discussion for potential four-way stop on Bunker Avenue and Port Road. We did receive communication from Joe Terry and Doug Caston and their thoughts on that. We suggested that this be sent on to the CERT committee for further consideration. We also had discussion for potential for a safe crossing on Highway 54 from Port Road to access the walking bike path safely. Because Highway 54 is a state highway, any changes would require state approval. Also, it would need a marked bicycle walking path along Port Road. This could be significant financial burden, so we concluded that we'd like to wait for the new administrator to maybe check into some grant possibilities and exploring that further. From the fire department, Chief Arndt reviewed the monthly report. Some particular issues were working towards bringing us up to compliance on SBS 330 and an incident that was had with the fire department UTV. From the police department, Chief Radke reported that the tasers have been purchased. Also from a grant fund, the flashing speed limit sign has been ordered and that'll be set up by the fire department. Also, on quite a positive note, the Law Enforcement Club would like to donate 2 dog waste removal stations to the village. This includes the sign, the bags, and the trash bins. They'll be located along the bike path. And I would like to express the village's appreciation for that donation, and we encourage the club to keep up the great community service. That's about it. Nothing new on the agenda moving forward.
Questions? Okay, Sue, would you please take FHR for us?
Sure, happy to do that. Our meeting was held on June 6th, along with multiple other meetings. One of the first topics that we had discussion about was with Scott Stewart, chair of the Police and Fire Commission, who talked to us about having a meeting with FHR to, when they have a candidate selected, to do a negotiations concerning salary and benefits. And the committee was willing to hold that meeting and discuss that issue. Other things that happened, there was also a motion, well, discussion and a motion about sending written communication to our village attorneys. And our next meeting will be July 2nd at 6 p.m. And motions, I move to approve payment of the bills.
Second.
Motion by trustees Mitchell, second by trustee Grundon, approve payment of the bills. Discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes.
I further move to approve the journal entries of the previous month, which would have been May.
Need a second?
Second.
Second by, motion by trustee Mitchell, second by trustee Grundon to approve the journal entries of the previous month. Discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes.
Next motion to approve, I move to approve contracting for services with Michael Kornman to assist the interim administrator for our first 90 days at a rate of $50 per hour to be billed in tenths of an hour on a monthly, billed on a monthly basis.
Second.
Motion by trustee Mitchell, second by trustee Grundon. Discussion.
I just have a question.
Okay.
So is that just on a whim? I mean, she can make phone calls to Mike whenever she wants, and then we just get billed for that for the entire 90 days?
I assume that with this motion, yes.
Or do we have some kind of limit, or? Because
We
we're already-
did not set any limit. Whether there should be or shouldn't, I don't know. You know, I'm hoping that she would use discretion obviously, in what she's calling for.
There was consensus that I don't think any of us ever spoke about it being abused, more like used rarely. if
Yeah,
I'm recalling
right.
it right.
And you're right, Joe, I think we felt like, and because Mike is working a full-time job, we didn't feel like he probably was going to have excessive amounts of time either to spend.
He told me that he and Lorelei called, and Mike said, no, he wouldn't take calls before 4:30.
Oh, okay, all right, I think you said that and I'd forgotten about that. So obviously it would be after work hours.
I think that's some topic that FHR can review each time you have a meeting, you know.
We could come back, I was gonna say after the first month, after we've billed for 1 month and
Like
let the.
even July, and that's not something you'd have to even have on the agenda, you know, you can just, it's part of the job in question.
To look.
I'm just concerned that every time, if they talk for an hour, it's $125 just for them to, hopefully it's productive, is what I'm getting at.
Oh, okay, you're right.
If it's questions, I mean, 'cause we even had the issue with Mike, in the beginning and stuff like that. It's a learning curve. But if it's stuff that you should be able to make a choice or a decision, I don't expect for Mike to be a crutch at $50 an hour, is what I'm getting at.
And that brings up another point on the other side, and that is because she's new and, not necessarily experienced, that she could have lots of questions too.
And just the interim.
Yeah.
Just the interim administrator unable to completely, and part-time, what was her hours?
3 days a week, 4 hours a day, or something, 12 hours a week.
But at that rate, I hope that she's.
Answering things
can
herself.
make, yes.
Okay, I will come back, or no, hopefully Luann will come back at the next meeting.
Oh, you will too, you're on that committee, so.
Well, I am on that committee, right, so we can contribute.
Mike's concerns were the splash pad and the water issue on Port Road. And I know he talked to Lorelei on both those.
Okay.
So that's where the harebrained idea.
Nope, I totally understand. It's nice to have somebody there. But if there's some other issues, hopefully she's able to take those for action.
Okay, so we'll report on the amount of time, she's called. Mike. Okay.
Any other discussion on that? Okay, we had a motion by Chairman Mitchell, second by Trustee Grundon, approve contracting for services of Michael Corman to assist the interim administrator for her first 90 days at a rate of $50 per hour to be billed in tenths of an hour and billed on a monthly basis. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, moving on. I move to approve contacting in written form the village attorneys to outline concerns that the village has in regards to some of the representation provided.
Second.
Motion by Chairman Mitchell, second by Trustee Grundon to approve contacting in written form the village attorneys to outline concerns that the village has in regards to some of the representation provided. Discussion. Okay, all those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion carries.
I have one more comment, or I'll make my my interim chairman comments following up. As all of you know, the three of us, Trustee Mansell, Trustee Grundon, and myself, have been part of an interviewing group as a sub-part of the
One on the
FHR.
agenda, right?
Oh, am I?
Special projects
on
committee.
there. Well, I think that's Dana's,
No,
isn't
that's-
it? Or is
that's
it,
how
are you looking at
Right,
that?
Diane?
Hmm?
That's the hiring committee, the special projects committee?
I don't know.
Yeah,
President
we-
Zerflu had him at it. I don't know.
Yeah, I added Betsy to it because of Luann and my staying out.
No, I'm just saying because it's called the Special Project Committee on the agenda, that's my.
Oh, that's Dana.
That's-
That's Mr. Duncan.
Oh.
That's
Sorry,
for
sorry,
DMI related.
Yeah.
He just suggested that title because then he's not held down to a single particular issue with them, so.
Okay, and anyway, going back to the three of us and the interview committee for the foreman of public works, we have met 2 times now and have kind of come to the conclusion that because we are changing practice, past practice, in selecting our foreman or supervisor, that's had different titles, of Public Works, that we would like input from the whole board, which tonight is you, Eric. You know, you are the rest of the board, and
Well, and-
President Zerflu
Right.
too, actually, both, about how to move forward, because as I'm sure everybody knows, there was one candidate, and we weren't positive about going forward with just having one, whether that person should be promoted to the position, whether we should open up applications to outside public works crew, how we should go forward. And you two may have more comments too.
I sent an email out to everyone earlier on and didn't receive any responses regarding, I feel really concerned that we don't have the knowledge at the table on that committee. So there is that. And I understand the dynamic with the close relationships, and that's where I think getting the full board, minus Luann, of course, because we all kind of have these overlapping relationships, and getting some more knowledge at the table. I mean, I've never even been on the committee. I'm a little concerned moving forward that maybe we could broaden that and as a group have a closer look so that we make sure we're hitting all the pieces.
And you did mention that on May 1st, after the meeting, that we had the initial, when we interviewed the DPW workers.
And that's even,
I kind of agree with Tiara being super new, not having the knowledge base for what that position all entails. It'd be nice to have a little bit more, somebody who's been around a little bit more, to have their voice and their input and direction.
I know at the FHR meeting, when Dana and Eric were on, it was decided back then that we would try it within, and if it didn't work, we would go without.
Okay.
And that was set. But I have a question to ask you guys. Sometimes when you make a request, you don't have to make a motion. This is your findings as a special committee that you want to have the board involved, Did you ever think at all of, okay, we tried something new and it just didn't seem to work out for whatever reasons, that we want to use the system that we've always used?
What?
Just
which
food for
is,
thought.
which is,
We always, the next person in progression.
For me personally, I don't want to see us go up. I don't think that that'll be productive. I just don't see, because from what my understanding, we have qualified people in-house. So for me, but the problem comes in when we have one candidate. So what we really need from the board is, what do we want to do? Do we want to continue interviewing one candidate, or do we want to promote the one candidate that's applied? And I think at this point as a board, I would be leaning towards promote the one candidate that we have, or may have, if I understand it right. Have we received applications? It's just the one?
I'm
that's
aware
all,
of it, yeah.
So I think it would be pretty counterproductive to go go outside of the village when we have qualified people in the village. But that, yeah, that's it.
What do you think about, would you, if we had a board meeting, give any credence to scrapping what we thought was going to be new and going back to the previous way we used to do it?
Well,
And-
the problem, I'm sorry,
Go ahead. No, I was just going to ask. Go ahead.
The next in line, who exactly would that be if we were to go that route? If we changed the dynamics of how we did things, if it was gonna be a promote, it's just occurring to me, then if we change the rules, then the candidates may change. And who is the next in line?
I'm not allowed to say in an open meeting with the names.
Well, and I'm not necessarily asking for the name,
Yeah,
but do we,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Yes, we know who that is.
Yes,
So,
Well,
Yeah.
it's a matter of perspective, kind of.
has it always been that it was the next person with seniority?
well, I can only speak of March 20th, 1978, and yet the answer to that is yes.
It is yes. Okay, so this time it changed,
Correct.
correct? Okay. And everybody realized that.
Pretty much.
Okay. Okay, and and I guess the problem, not that it's a problem, but yes, I think we see it, and that's part of the reason we're here, is that there is only one person. So even though we opened it up, we didn't really get much.
That'd be my concern, why there isn't more people interested in the position. And why do you only have one person?
And I think that's a good
They've all worked
question.
together for 20 years.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're pretty much, when they leave
Unless-
the bench in the morning, they know where they're going.
Unless that group decided internally that that's the person that they were gonna
and I
put in
don't
for.
know.
I don't know either.
And I don't know that I want to ask that either.
Lost my thought that quick. So I would recommend that we do not have a committee of the whole on this. We will have a special board meeting on this. Only because if some great idea comes forth, you can take action. I mean, an agenda of discuss and possible action. Then you're free
That's a
to
good
do
idea.
it.
I think maybe, and Tierra really is the one who's been pushing for this, that we need to hear from the whole board. I think if the practice is going to change, then it probably needs to be a decision from the whole board. We're willing to do, well, I'm willing to, I can't speak for you two, willing to do the work, I think, to make that happen, but I think we need to operate with a clear perspective on what the practice is, so that we know what we're dealing with.
So two of the three I'm taking had the feeling which you stated about your concerns about going out.
I think it would be an epic,
Well,
Fail.
the only reason I asked that, Tara, is that's a good starting point for a special board meeting. Personal feeling. So if you guys would remind me, when I read the meetings list, start thinking about a date that you guys would have open. Okay. Dana will be Dana. If it's a Monday or a Tuesday, he's usually good, but he got stuck in Chicago today, I guess, so. I do thank you for your service, though.
ever
And-
annoying as sometimes it may be.
Scott, did I word that right? You're not getting into this, are you? You must be a retired police officer. Okay, that's what we'll do then. Got a problem? You're okay? You guys are definitely okay. All right, anything else before we go into special projects committee? Nothing? Alrighty, Attorney Apps, glad you could make it. You didn't miss anything really that we needed your expertise on. back
I thought there
to,
was something that you said I'll have to get with him. Can't quite.
did that happen over 2 minutes ago?
There was something.
Use that exact phrase.
Oh, maybe it was the, if we,
The letter. Is that what you're
I'm out.
Okay. Well, if it comes up,
Yeah.
order it out. Do you have anything? We talked about the other item you and I talked about, you know, the, and basically gonna go forward, and have the letter, and
Yes.
so it's pretty much cut and dry, and Dana's gonna write the letter, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Unless we have our attorney write it to us up.
I don't think that would work.
Magic.
But we didn't move
It's
that.
like conflict of interest.
Oh, you're gonna write the letter?
Nope.
Okay, if we go under new business now, we have a motion to adopt resolution 2019-4 approving the 2018 compliance maintenance annual report. Madam Clerk, do you have anything to say on that at all?
Everyone should have gotten a copy.
Yep, yep. It's SOP basically, so. So my reading of to adopt 2019-4 approving 2018 compliance maintenance annual report is a motion.
Second?
Second by trustee Grundon, discussion. Even if you've been through those reports year after year after year, you get done with it and you still go, what did I just read? So, Ben and Jason do a heck of a job with the plans. So. Okay, hearing no requests to speak, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? That motion carries. Lorelei is not here tonight, so we will go into report from the clerk treasurer. And Eric, you be on your toes.
I'd like to ask for a motion to approve a Class A beer and a Class A liquor retail license for BK Oil Inc., Mark Phillips 66, at 421 State Highway 73, Nakusa, valid from July 1st, 2019 to June 30th, 2020.
So moved.
Motion by trustee Grundon, second by trustee Saylor to approve this motion as just read by the clerk. Discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And I'd also like to ask for a motion to approve operators licenses for BK Oil Inc. for Aaron Dean, Tanisha Dominy, Michaela McCrossin, Barbara Skiva, Megan Weber, and Michelle Wold, valid from July 1st, 2019 to June 30th, 2020.
Motion by trustee Mansell. Sorry about that. Second by trustee Saylor. Discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries.
Okay, I'd also like to ask for a motion to approve a cigarette and tobacco products retail license for BK Oil Inc., Mark Phillips 66, at 421 State Highway 73, Nakusa, valid from July 1st, 2019 to June 30th, 2020.
So moved.
Motion by trustee Mitchell, second by trustee Mansell, to approve the motion as read by the clerk. Do we have discussion? Hearing no request to speak, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? That motion carries.
Okay, I'd also like to ask for a motion to approve a Class A beer and Class A liquor retail license for Port Edwards Boutique and Craft Malt LLC, Bourbon Barrel Tap Room and Pizza at 251 Market Avenue, Port Edwards, valid from July 1st, 2019 to June 30th, 2020.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by trustee Saylor, second. Second by trustee Mansell to approve the motion as read. Discussion. Eric.
Just so you guys are aware, the Portage Fire Department, we've been trying to get a hold of the Bourbon Barrel to do a fire inspection. We do them semi-annual. We ran into some issues last time. Don't think it was taken care of last time. I know some phone calls this time was left and there was some scheduling conflicts or something happened, but it still hasn't happened now. So that's my discussion.
So if we don't.
Oh, go ahead, Sue.
Sorry. I was gonna say, so if we don't vote for this, then,
So how I've read it in the statutes and stuff like that is you have to pass all your inspections, and fire inspection being one of them. You have health inspections, you got other inspections that you have to be an operating business. So as far as the fire department, those things haven't been met, and that's why I'm gonna vote
you're
accordingly.
right, I don't think they ever had the previous inspection.
I think in the last couple of years, since they've been around, the last 2 years, there's been one fire inspection, and you can see it on Facebook, because I think it was recorded, but anyways, yeah, I think we've had one.
As presider, there's two ways you can proceed, either to deny the motion as read by the clerk, or we could make an amendment that this could be, and correct me if I'm wrong, Diane, we could approve this pending, pending these investigation or inspections be done. Can we do that?
Does that include health inspections and everything?
I guess.